Denmark's Prime Minister has called a snap election and put a wealth tax at the centre of her campaign. The proposal aims for annual tax revenue of roughly $1 billion from 60,000 Danes a year. There's just one problem. Denmark's neighbour already tried this and pushed out 82 of its most productive residents. IMI has the full picture on what this means for Denmark, for the mobility market, and for you if you have any ties to Scandinavia. Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen has announced a snap election for March 24th, and the wealth tax is her flagship issue. But the version she's proposing may not be the version that passes. Enhedslisten, the far-left party whose support Frederiksen needs to form a government, has its own proposal. A 1% annual levy on net fortunes above 35 million kroner, which is approximately $5 million. That version targets around 14,000 Danes and is projected by Denmark's tax ministry to generate 10 billion kroner annually, considerably more than Frederiksen's plan. The party has made this a condition. If Frederiksen wants their votes, the final tax needs to look a lot like theirs. So the question is, how aggressive will Frederiksen's final version turn out to be? The natural question that politicians should ask when proposing rules like these is how other countries have fared when they rolled out a similar program. Denmark's nearest neighbour provides the closest available stress test, and the results are not encouraging for Frederiksen and other wealth tax advocates. In 2022, Norway's Labour-led government raised its wealth tax rate by 55% in real terms, expecting an additional $146 million per year. What followed, you can probably guess, was a wave of talent and capital flight. 82 wealthy Norwegians with a combined net worth of approximately 46 billion kroner, about $4.3 billion, left the country in 2022 and 2023, and more than 70 of them relocated directly to Switzerland. Independent estimates put the resulting revenue loss at roughly $594 million. That's 4 times the projected gain. Now, there's a counter-argument. Norway still collected approximately 32 billion kroner in wealth tax in 2023 from 655,000 taxpayers. Researchers at Statistics Norway say most entrepreneurs had enough liquidity to pay the tax and that it did not materially harm business investment at the firm level. Critics respond that the headline revenue figures hide the cost of the capital that left permanently. Both readings of the data are live in the Danish political debate right now, and both have merit. The honest and factual answer is that wealth taxes generate revenue from those who stay, but accelerate departures among those with the means and motivation to leave. Wealth tax announcements generate action, not only in the government, of course, but also in the citizenry, which we'll discuss more in a second. Frederiksen's announcement blew up her own government coalition overnight. Lars Løkke Rasmussen, Denmark's foreign minister and leader of the centrist moderates, rejected the wealth tax outright. Troels Lund Poulsen, the Liberal Party's candidate for Prime Minister, said he would not join any government that implements it. In effect, the cross-partisan coalition that has governed Denmark since 2022 is over. Current polling puts Frederiksen's left-leaning bloc at 87 to 88 seats in Denmark's 179-seat parliament, which is just short of the 90 required for a majority and passage of this rule. Seats from Greenland and the Faroe Islands could prove decisive. So as of now, the outcome is genuinely uncertain. But if you're watching this channel, this is where investment migration comes in. Wealth tax announcements generate activity long before they generate legislation. High net worth individuals who plan relocation or significant asset movements typically do so months or years before formal action. That means the announcement alone is already relevant. The reasons are the same ones that drove Norway's wealthy after 2022. Swiss cantonal tax competition lets you negotiate favourable terms at the local level. The lump sum tax programme calculates your liability based on living expenses rather than actual income, and a double taxation treaty between Denmark and Switzerland can offer a cleaner exit. If you want help with that kind of planning, you can find, sort and contact qualified advisors at imidaily.com. Now, one variable could change the entire algebra here for those considering relocation to or from Denmark, and nobody knows the answer yet. Exit tax design will matter enormously. Norway's 2022 reform made exit taxation indefinite and eliminated the previously available 5-year deferral window. That actually accelerated departures. Wealthy residents rushed to leave before the rules tightened further. Denmark has not yet published the proposed mechanics of its exit tax or whether there will be one at all. But until it does, market professionals cannot fully model the cost of staying versus leaving. A punitive exit tax could trap capital. A lenient one could trigger exactly the kind of exodus Norway experienced. Denmark last held a wealth tax until 1997, when Parliament abolished it. The reasons were practical. Valuing illiquid assets was administratively complex, and competitive pressure from neighbours that had no such tax made it unsustainable. Nearly 3 decades later, Frederiksen wants to revive it. The March 24th ballot will determine whether she has the mandate to do so. But regardless of the election outcome, the pattern is now familiar across Scandinavia. Governments propose wealth taxes to fund public spending. Wealthy residents evaluate their options. Advisory firms model relocation scenarios, and some portion of the capital leaves permanently. The question for Denmark is whether the math works out better than it did for Norway, or whether the same playbook produces the same result. If you're a high net worth individual considering a move to or investment in Europe, announcements like this may frighten you. But have you considered the Netherlands' forthcoming unrealized gains tax? We covered that in detail in the video on your screen now, and what it means for tax incentives and programs in Europe. Subscribe and stay informed.